rather die. I'm sorry you feel that way, sir, but the only available seat we have is a middle seat. Do you know who I am? You're, Brandon Cloud. That's right. How do you think this is going to look when Brandon Cloud, one of the top 40 under 40 Silicon Valley executives, is forced to sit in a middle seat in the coach section? I'm sorry, sir. We're having massive delays and cancellations. The weather is very unpredictable right now. This is one of the few operational flights we have available. Most people won't be able to get home tonight. Unpredictable weather? Yes, sir. We have to err on the side of caution. What is your name? Linda. Linda, okay. This is a big airport. You must have some sort of reserve situation for big clientele. Reserve situation? When someone important needs to get somewhere fast. A jet that you roll out for celebrities. No, sir, we don't have anything like that. Someone from behind Brandon makes a snide comment. You're holding up the line, bozo. Brandon turns around, putting his hand onto his waist for added weight, and retorts with, Bozo? Who you calling bozo, bozo? Sir, please, do you want the seat or not? We have many people who would happily accept the ticket if you do not. Brandon lets out an exasperated sigh. Fine, but this entire experience will be discussed at my next TED Talk, and it will not be positive. Do you understand, Linda? Brandon puts his sunglasses back on and takes the ticket before pushing his tiny suitcase off away with him towards an empty seat in the waiting area.
Everybody is welcome to one carry-on item and one personal item. Your carry-on must fit in the sizing box right over here, and your personal item must fit underneath the seat in front of you. We are going to turn this aircraft as soon as we can, so I will let you know when it's time to line up. Thank you.
Brandon is between two people, waiting, embarrassed to be viewed by all the people sitting in first class, the class he belongs to, at least in his mind. He leans his head back, furious, and then gets on his tiptoes to try and see what the holdup is while holding on to his top-of-the-line Prada men's nylon triangle logo backpack. Did someone die? The hell is taking so long? An old woman catches that comment and turns back to say, That's not a very nice thing to say. Oh, was I being mean, Grandma? Sack up. Brandon Cloud, is that you? Dear God, Brandon thinks, there's someone he knows sitting in first class who's going to witness him not sitting in first class. Satan must be laughing his ass off right now, he thinks. Chet? Oh, great to see you. He's dressed almost exactly the same as Brandon. They clearly shop at all the same stores, as if they came off the same assembly line. Chet smiles with his almost blindingly white teeth. You too, Brandon. How was the merger? Brandon, following his fellow soulless suit, continues the convo. Good merger, even better acquisition. Can't have one without the other, am I right, Brandon? You are, Chet. Right indeed. They both laugh at the same time. From behind Brandon, he hears someone, Green light, man. Brandon turns backward and then forward to see that he can now walk forward. He starts to, slowly, terrified, with embarrassment. Brandon, where are you going? You're not in coach, right? Oh, of course not. I just, Brandon checks his phone, trying to pretend he's looking for his seat number, but really he's just trying to fool Chet. Stretching my legs before I sit in first class. Chet cuts off Brandon, rife with joy at this power trip. As I live and breathe, Cloud is in coach. Oh, wait till the boys hear this one. Ha ha ha. Chet, perhaps we can just keep this between us. There was a mix-up with my flight itinerary. Chet cuts him off again as he leans back in his plush, comfortable, vibrating chair. Yeah. I'll keep it between us, Cloud. Us and the entire executive board. You saved some soup and crackers for me, Cloud. Just when Brandon could not feel worse, the same person from behind him yells out, Green light, doofus! Brandon turns to scream, I'm moving, jackass! Brandon finally moves down the clear aisle. As Brandon is about to get to his seat, the elderly woman in front of him asks out loud, Can someone help me with my luggage? Brandon pretends to check his phone. Another man nearby, wearing a cowboy hat and a Dak Prescott jersey, stands up and says, in his beyond cool, bordering on current Mickey Rourke levels of timbre in his voice, to declare out loud, "I'd be happy to help, ma'am." "Thank you, young man," the elderly woman tells him. Brandon finally gets to his seat and sees that the older woman who he'd just told to sack up is sitting in the window seat. They look at each other, dismayed. He slinks down and slides into the middle seat, already miserable. He tries to cramp down his backpack under his seat. Just as he puts on his Sennheiser HE1 headphones, closes his eyes, and attempts to have a moment of tranquility, he feels a tap on his shoulder along with the sounds, "Excuse me, bud." Brandon takes off his headphones and looks at the man next to him. He is a big man, twice the width of Brandon, and about 4 times as much personality. He's got a trucker hat, jeans, t-shirt that says, "Everything is bigger in Tejas." "Think you're in my seat, bud. Sorry about that, bud." Brandon looks down at his ticket to double check. Are you sure? Sir, I believe I'm in the right seat." "Oh, you're right. My fault. Got my letters mixed up. Yes, sir, you're in the right seat. I'm on the aisle." Brandon attempts a fake smile and then realizes that he might have just talked himself out of being in the middle seat. The man is breathing heavily. Just sitting seems to have caused him to run out of breath. These are the thoughts running through Brandon's mind right now, boiling with rage. "Howdy, ma'am." Big man has now said hello to the elderly woman next to Brandon. She responds with a very sweet and courteous, "Well, hello. Y'all have a nice trip?" Dear God, Brandon thinks. Not only does this blimp of a man have half of his gut bulldozing into my rib, he's going to make small talk? Son of a... Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I'd like to take a moment to thank you for choosing to fly with us today. We're expecting a smooth flight, but please be aware that there may be some light turbulence as we ascend. For your safety, I recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened until the fasten seatbelt sign is turned off. Our flight time to San Francisco is approximately 3 hours and 40 minutes. The weather at our destination looks good, but I'll keep you updated on any changes along the way. If you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to ask our friendly flight attendants. We'll be coming through the cabin shortly with a drink service, and we'll also offer snacks if you're interested. Thank you for your attention, and sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. We're looking forward to getting you to San Francisco safely and on time. The back of Brandon's seat was kicked. Twice. 3 times. Is there a karate tournament back there? The hell's all the ruckus? If Brandon wasn't sandwiched between a submarine and Betty White, he would turn and say something. And then, just when things couldn't get any worse, a child from in front of Brandon leaned up over the back of his headrest and made a big, long, loud fart noise. Big man laughed and then put a cherry on Brandon's crap sundae, telling this obnoxious child, "Let it rip, little dog." "Oh, good one." Brandon was surrounded on all sides. Old woman, big man, fart face, karate kid, his rage was now boiling above the surface. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I'm currently number 4 in line for takeoff. Hope to move within the next 15 minutes. We apologize for any delay. Brandon's head is visibly shaking with disdain. "Ooh-wee, it's a shame we can't get drinks while we're idle, am I right, bud?" Big man nudged Brandon's rib again like a jab from a 1985 Mike Tyson. He closed his eyes and desperately tried to sleep. He prayed. He wasn't religious, unless he was around a wealthy person who was religious. But normally, he did not believe in God or gods. He believed in the almighty dollar, and right now he was praying to whoever was listening that he fall asleep. Fall asleep and wake up when this flight was over. Maybe a movie could help. He scrolled options. Big man was laughing, loudly. Brandon looked at Big Man's scream. 2.5 Men, the shockingly popular Charlie Sheen show on CBS. Every other line from Charlie Sheen would draw a big yee-haw ha-ha from Big Man. Yee-haw! Heard something to his right. It was the elderly woman. She was watching videos out loud on her phone. Videos of cats chasing strings. She was laughing loudly. I didn't know old people could laugh that loudly, he thought. Charlie Sheen and cats. What atrocities did I commit in a previous life to be subjugated to die like this? Like some sort of peasant clinging to scraps of life on a one-way ticket to torture. And then, like a miracle, a true miracle, Brandon actually started to wander off. Perhaps it was the almost sublime levels of sound quality from his headphones, which were currently playing the sounds of waves crashing. Or maybe it was the enormous organic quilted pillow from Sattva that seemed to ease his pain. Either way, he was beginning to feel sleepy. And maybe this ride from hell was starting to become peaceful. Ah! 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 Brandon's body jumped forward. Oh, you all right, big man? Big man giggled to himself, staring into Brandon's eyes. Had Big Man just called him Big Man? Brandon had no idea what Big Man meant. Who cares what this moron thinks or says? Brandon was still half asleep. He tried to close his eyes and fall back to his serene slumber. Ah! Brandon's body dropped forward again, along with the collective sound of a gasp. The elderly woman looked at him, concerned. Are you all right, young man? Brandon turned, confused, and told her confidently, What? Yes, turbulence. This crazy old bat had a leak in her attic, he thought. Why would she ask him that? There was nothing wrong with him. There was something wrong with her for asking him that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're currently experiencing a little bit of turbulence. We hope to push past it over the next 5 minutes. Apologize for any disturbance. Brandon looked down at the old woman's hands. She was filing her nails. He turned to the other side. Big Man was reaching down to his bag of fresh beef jerky to grab out a new piece. He would swirl it around his mouth with each chew. Brandon checked his watch. 21 minutes. Dear God. He'd only been asleep for 21 minutes, and there were still 3 hours to go. Every minute was a claw onto a chalkboard. The beef jerky was now being held under his nose. Brandon turned. Big Man was holding his prized beef jerky directly under Brandon's nose. Hey, don't be bashful, bud. No, thank you, Brandon said, shaking his head no. You sure? Might not be on the market in 5 minutes. Oh! Brandon could feel him laugh. His whole body would jiggle. Brandon's body fell forward again. Everyone turned to look, concerned, scared, worried. Brandon could feel all their eyes on him. He quickly scanned all the different eyes within his scattered line of vision. You sure you're okay, bud? Big Man was no longer smiling. Big Man was always smiling, but now he seemed nervous. You don't feel that turbulence? Big Man looked over Brandon towards the old woman. They both shook their heads no. There ain't no turbulence, bud. Got a real smooth flight so far. The flight attendant walked over and leaned down towards Brandon. Is everything all right, sir? What? Yes, it's just turbulence. By the time turbulence came out of Brandon's mouth, he almost didn't believe it. This made no sense. Why was everyone else looking at him like he was crazy? Sir, are you on any medication? Brandon's eyes darted back up towards the flight attendant. Medication? Me? No, never. I'm Brandon Cloud, 40 under 40. 40 under 40. 40 under... sir, there's nothing to be concerned about. I assure you we have a smooth flight ahead of us. But the captain said we would have turbulence. He said that. I didn't say that. Have you been drinking today, sir? Well, I think so, Big Man said. No, I have not. I don't drink. I mean, I do drink occasionally, wine. After a merger or an acquisition, perhaps a glass or two of Chateau Petrus. But no, I have not drank today, and I don't appreciate your implications. Okay, sir. Please let me know if you need anything. I'll be right back there. I appreciate your help, but I can assure you I'm perfectly... Brandon's eyes nearly shot out the back of his head. Directly in front of him was the child, only this time he had black eyes and horns. Sir, please calm down. Devil child. Look at his eyes. Look at his... Brandon looked again. Fart Face had a normal face. No black eyes, no horns, just a dumb little fart face. Brandon tried to save his own face, but that proved difficult. He had horns. He had horns? Y'all have any extra seats I could take instead? Big Man was nervous. Big Man was asking to be moved. What kind of world are we living in where Big Man asked to move away from me, Brandon thought. Sir, would you like some water? The elderly woman held up a bottle of water towards Brandon. That's very nice, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. Brandon took the bottle of water. As he was about to sip, he saw a big, hideous centipede wrapped around the inside of the bottle. Brandon threw the water bottle down the aisle. There were loud gasps from every direction. Every passenger who could look at Brandon was now staring at him. Sir, please, tell me what is wrong. There was a centipede inside her water bottle. I think it winked at me. The elderly woman raised her hand towards the flight attendant. May I move? First big man and now the old hag? Even the kooks were turning on Brandon. How had this happened? Cell phones were being aimed directly at him from all angles. What are you all looking at? I'm not crazy. There was a centipede inside her. Brandon looks down at Big Man's lap, and crawling all over his beef jerky bag are jellyfish writhing around his fingers. Another loud gasp from the rest of the passengers as Brandon is now nearly ripping a hole in both armrests. The cowboy stood up from one row over. What now, sir? Beef jellyfish, oh! Big Man started unbuckling his seatbelt and said, It's just jerky, buddy, look. It was just jerky. How had just jerky turned to just jelly? Where was Brandon's mind, and how had he lost it? Ma'am, may I be of some assistance? Cowboy's head nearly hit the top of the airplane. He peered down at Brandon like a vulture circling a corpse. Ow! Ow! Brandon grabbed his neck in pain and bellowed, I just got karate chopped. Sir, are you sure you don't have any medication? I already answered that question. This is what happens when you make a Silicon Valley executive sit in the middle seat. Sir, why don't we escort you towards the back where you can be alone for a little while? Would you be more comfortable sitting alone? No, I would not. Brandon froze mid-sentence. Eureka! It had worked. Whatever hell his brain had melted into had now opened up a door towards ecstasy. A life away from the middle seat. He took a pause and then responded quite calmly with, Yes, I think the back would be best. Alone at last. God almighty, I'm alone at last. This is what ran through Brandon's mind as he now sat alone in the back of the airplane, next to the snacks and supplies. Life had gone from bad to bliss in the snap of a complete mental breakdown. The flight attendant came by to check on him. Feeling better, sir? Yes, quite better. I apologize for any disturbance I may have caused earlier. It's been a long week. We had a merger and an acquisition. Perhaps the adrenaline finally caught up with me. I'm just glad you're feeling better, sir. Please, let us know if we can be of assistance. I will, thank you. The flight attendant walked away as Brandon exhaled. He checked his watch. We were halfway done with the flight. Before he knew it, he'd be home, on his big bed in his big house, surrounded by his wife, with a big chest. When the cowboy walked out of the bathroom, Brandon got up and went inside. He washed his hands, looked at himself in the mirror, and couldn't help but giggle. What a silly story. Something he can regale the other Silicon Valley executives with during their next orgy on a tropical island paradise. He used his foot to lift up the toilet. Rising up out of the toilet was an anaconda. Its tongue slithering as it rose up so high it was now looking down onto a screaming Brandon, who turned and burst through the bathroom door. The flight attendant came running back towards him. Sir, what's wrong? The cowboy was hovering behind the flight attendant, rolling up his sleeves, ready to take action when it became necessary to take action. There's an anaconda in the toilet. Look! Brandon turned. The bathroom was empty. He went back inside and kicked the toilet open. I swear, there was an anaconda in the toilet. Why would I make that up? I was wondering the same thing, Cowboy said. Sir, I need you to stay calm. I just need to go inform the pilot that you may require assistance. I'll watch him. You get going, madam. Cowboy stood watch as the flight attendant moved past him down the aisle. I don't require assistance. I can assure you the only thing that needs assistance is your reptilian-infested toilet. Everyone on the airplane was staring at Brandon. Not only that, their eyes, their white eyes, their cold, dead, white eyes, mouths open, drooling. It was an entire plane filled with zombies. Holy Mother of God, Brandon said. This plane is landing in hell. That's why I got the middle seat. The destination was never San Francisco. It was Satan's lair. Cowboy tackled Brandon and turned him over, tying his hands with a makeshift knot made from his handkerchief. Settle down, Silicon. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. That's all Brandon could think. He had lived his entire life through practicality, rationality, pragmatism, logic-based living. He had never hallucinated. He'd never even smoked marijuana. The only thing he could see was Chet, standing on his seat, laughing and pointing while filming this whole thing on his phone. It's over. It's all over. I'll be forced to go live in my parents' house again. I'll have to start up a new startup. It's over. My entire life is over. All because of the goddamn middle seat. Damn you, middle seat. Damn you, middle seat. Damn you. Back and to the middle. Brandon was back where he started, in the middle seat. He'd been given a glimpse of utopia, and now he was in the sunken place of despair. Only this time, he was squeezed between Big Man and the cowboy. Elderly woman was now sitting where Cowboy had been sitting, on the aisle. The aisle, Brandon thought. A heavenly combination of space and comfort. I don't see why I can't stay in the back of the plane. The flight attendant spoke from a distance, afraid to get too close to Brandon. The pilot thinks it would be best if you stayed here, sir. Don't worry. We only have 16 hours more to go. 16? Brandon checked his watch. It was now 12 hours earlier. It was yesterday? Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're currently experiencing a little bit of Brandon's a big bitch. Hope to resolve it shortly. Now, sit back, relax, and please enjoy the next 16 hours of being stuck in the middle seat between two men who, look like real men. You big bitch, Brandon. Did he just call me a bitch? Brandon didn't know if he'd said that out loud or not. All he knew was that the tattoo of an angel on Cowboy's arm was slowly morphing into a demon. Her eyes were turning black and long bloody teeth were cascading down her body. It reached out for him until he yelled, "No, sister! No, sister! Spare me from your wicked ways!" Brandon jumped forward again, feeling a tremendous push of turbulence. The cowboy clamped his hand down onto Brandon's before oozing out the line, "I told you to settle, Silicon. Don't make me get the... Don't make me get the... The word echoed through eternity as Brandon leaned his head as far back as he could while the cowboy lifted up his left arm to show the tattoo of a wolf getting up off his skin and walking across his arm with his mouth wide open, aiming right down onto Brandon's crotch. "Oh, please, Lord, not my pecker. Keep the wolves at bay. Keep the wolves at bay. Please, Lord." Brandon began howling like a wild beast. He was sweating so hard he could barely see. The anxiety rapids flowing over his eyebrows were spewing like a burst dam onto his eyeballs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're currently experiencing a little bit of human sacrifice for waste of space in the middle seat named Brandon Cloud. Named Brandon Big Bitch Cloud. Big Bitch Brandon Cloud. Please sharpen your knives and prepare to give the dark gods a slice of his pathetic man meat. Man meat? Brandon asked. Is he talking about my crotch? A line was now forming in the aisle. Everyone was on it, holding various medieval weapons, smiling, licking their lips, including Chet, who was holding a massive axe. Jet, help me, please. You wish I could, Cloud. But you know what we say in Silicon Valley? If you can't merge them, destroy them. The plane was now free-falling, but only Brandon could feel it. The only oxygen mask that dropped was the one directly in front of him. He couldn't reach it because his hands were being held down by Cowboy and Big Man. "We're gonna die. We're all gonna die." Brandon was now screaming as loud as he could. Everyone else on the plane was just smiling, staring at him as their eyes grew bigger, moving closer with their weapons. The lips of their malevolent smiles began to expand. Their teeth turned to dust, and the white dust began gravitating towards Brandon's skin. It was slinking up his nose, through his ears, into his eyes. They began to laugh at him, pointing and laughing, all of them. It was as if they had all become one person. They had. Middle seat, middle seat, middle seat, middle seat. The place was now twisted and twirling upside down as the overhead lights flashed on and off, replaced by the oven heat of some mysterious red lights. Oh my god, I'm never inventing another app again. I'm never inventing another app again. Just as the plane was about to crash, silence. Your simulation is now complete. Brandon took off the headset. The soothing young female voice said again, "Thank you for participating. Please return at your earliest convenience." A beautiful young woman walked over to take his headset and hand him a water. He stood up in his silk robe labeled Fear Core, trying to catch his bearings. "Not bad, eh, Cloud?" Sitting nearby, getting a massage, was Chet. Brandon walked over, shaking his head in disbelief. "Chet? You've outdone yourself. When people realize they'll be able to live out their greatest fears as often as they'd like, it'll be the biggest technological toy since the iPhone. I appreciate your confidence, Cloud. That means a lot." "You've earned it, Chet. I'm just glad we're doing some good for once." "Cheers, Brandon." "Cheers, Chet." They raised their glasses of Chateau Petrus. From the wide windows overlooking a city in chaos, they sat atop this perched paradise, soaking in the sun.